A very good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of On the Record. My name is Vuyo Mvoko. Now on tonight's show, in a candid sit-down with FIFA presidential hopeful Tokyo Sexwale, he hits back at his critics following CAF's endorsement of Sheikh Salman Bin Ebrahim's al-Khalifa's campaign. But first, a look at some of the stories we'll be tracking for you this week and that are most likely to set the agenda of the news. The much-anticipated Constitutional Court hearing into the powers of the Public Protector is set to get underway in Johannesburg tomorrow. The hearing before the highest court in the land is expected to settle the dispute over whether President Jacob Zuma is obliged to pay back the money for non-security features at his Nkandla home. The Constitutional Court will hear arguments by the EFF and the DA in the case against President Jacob Zuma. They will argue that the president must comply with Public Protector Thuli Madonsela's recommendations that he pay a portion of the 246 million spent on upgrades to his Nkandla home. Corruption Watch has joined the DA and the EFF as friends of the court. Meanwhile, EFF faithful are expected to march on Mary Fitzgerald Square in Johannesburg tomorrow, calling on the president to pay back the money. And while all eyes will be on tomorrow's Concord bid to clarify the powers of the Public Protector, Corruption Watch is launching a campaign to ensure maximum public participation in the nomination of her successor.
Thuli Madonsela's term ends in October, and already a call for South Africans to speak up. Corruption Watch launched Vuyo Mvoko to help find a suitable replacement. The initiative encourages the public to participate.
Past public protectors, they've had to call for nominations several times because there were just not enough nominees. I think that's going to be different this time.
The drive will use social media to ensure a transparent appointment.
Is to allow the public to make a recommendation to the executive alongside Parliament. So when Parliament votes for the recommended candidate, we want the public to do the same using our application or web platform that we develop.
The organisation has joined other parties as friends of the Constitutional Court in the Nkandla matter. The FF brought the main application to get clarity on the powers of the Public Protector. Corruption Watch is also submitting that the office's recommendations are binding.
We will be making similar submissions to the Constitutional Court tomorrow, and we hope that they will be supported, and we're reasonably confident that they will be supported by the Constitutional Court.
The process for the next Public Protector is expected to begin next month. The first step is the establishment of an ad hoc parliamentary committee, followed by a call for nominations. Hasina Gori, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Well, we'll definitely be following that story for you. Tomorrow we'll be bringing you full coverage of what will have transpired. On to another story that seems unable to escape controversy. Ex-PRASA CEO Lucky Montana has fired the latest salvo in a battle that threatens to engulf the leadership of the rail utility. Responding to allegations of vast corruption made against him by PRASA chairman Popo Molefe, Montana retorted that Molefe had conducted an illegal campaign of electronic and physical surveillance against him in violation of his constitutional rights. Montana says he will not take the matter lying down and will report the surveillance. He says that this has cost the rail utility 50 million rands thus far. He named private investigating companies and law firms that he says are involved in the alleged illegalities. Molefe has filed an affidavit before the courts asserting more wrongdoing on Montana's part. The affidavit is part of a case in which PRASA seeks to set aside a contract with a service provider allegedly irregularly awarded during Montana's tenure.
I want to say to South Africa today that what is being, the allegations are not only false that they've been printed on about corruption on my part, but they are a product of a massive intelligence operations that has been undertaken by private companies which have since laid charges against at the Brooklyn police station last year, not now, last year.
Well, as the 2016 mining Indaba gets underway in Cape Town, the stakes have never been higher for South Africa's mining industry. Around 50,000 jobs have been lost since 2012. And government has said that more than 30,000 miners face losing their jobs. Miners are facing higher costs, while commodity prices have slumped. The head of Anglo says 2016 may just be worse than 2015. The sector has also complained that government is not providing certainty for it to make investments and stay committed to the country. Mineral Resources Minister Msebenzi Zwane says government has heard the pleas for regulatory certainty. He delivered the opening address this morning.
We intend to ramp up implementation of the contents of the declaration to minimize the impact. I call upon captains of the industry to deal with this matter responsibly. After proper consultations with all affected stakeholders, especially the workers. You also indicated that empowerment and transformation of the industry was taking place at a very slow rate. Our quest for inclusive economic growth, including empowerment of women, the youth, and other members of the vulnerable groups, is designed to help us achieve the type of society where everyone has a better life. We will provide requisite support for the new generation of miners. Restructuring of assets must be done in a respectable and responsible manner that also assists in the empowerment of our people. It is clear that research and development need increased support. Government is investing in research and development throughout the mining, minerals, and upstream petroleum value chain. We are investing in pre-competitive exploration phase in which the state, through the Council of Geoscience, is being resourced to apply latest technology in order to enhance exploration interest. Our goal is to substantially increase the share of the global exploration expenditure. There is a perception that the mineral resource of this country belongs to those who live near it. We should collectively be able to ensure that all the people of South Africa benefits from the mineral resources of the country, and once we have given rights to a particular right holder, we should be able to help them develop without any hindrances.
On to another story now. The 2016 municipal election race is hotting up, and the Tlokwe by-election will be highly contested. 21 candidates will contest the poll on the 24th of February. The ANC and the DA will contest all 7 wards, and 7 independent candidates 6 wards. The Constitutional Court nullified the 2013 Tlokwe by-elections and ordered a fresh poll.
The IEC is leaving no room for error. Contesting candidates have scrutinized and certified, and they've signed the voters' roll.
I am extremely convinced, and I am very optimistic that this time round we are going to do, all of us, the participants in this process, we are all going to make sure that everything goes according to plan, that the candidates can campaign where they want to campaign in a manner that they want to campaign, and that on our part too we will deliver a very efficient rerun of the by-elections.
Parties and independents are keen to start mobilizing support.
We are optimistic that we're going to reclaim the 7 wards. We don't have any fear. We're going to claim the victory of all the wards.
The DA has been canvassing in all these areas relevant to the different wards. We've been there for a very long time, and we are very hopeful that we will do good during the elections.
From now, we will be going all out now to campaign, because now our candidates are confirmed, and we can, with greater confidence, then campaign voters.
Special votes are scheduled for the 23rd of February.
on some of the stories we're tracking for you this week. Well, time now to take a quick break. When we return, let's sit down with Tokyo Sexwale. Don't go away.
And I'm production Chetty Miller, SAB Miller, and Hauser-Busch InBev. It's something that I need to learn to say more often.
Will together produce around a third of the world's beer.
It is a mouthful. Have you ever considered skin bleaching?
Nigeria tops the list of African countries with 77% of its women bleaching their skin. Now I can see that it is not good because it affects my face and some of my body parts.
Thousands of Arab Israelis and Palestinians participated in a big rally.
Flight MH17 was shot down by a Russian-made missile.
How those chips may fall is a prediction best left to the currency of time.
That's Primetime News, Africa Journal, and Your World on SABC News.
Well, FIFA presidential hopeful Tokyo Sexwale is not taking Confederation of African Football's no for an answer. In fact, his campaign to replace Sepp Blatter has only just begun. I caught up with him hours after his arrival from the Rwandan capital of Kigali, where the CAF executive told him they would not be endorsing his candidature.
I hope everything that went on there was clean, because the executive of CAF, CAF is All African Football Associations, 54 on the continent. This is the executive consisting of 14 people had met to have his own meeting, because there was a football championship, what they call CHAN, which also we were attending. And of course, all the 5 FIFA presidential candidates were invited to come to the games, as well as to hear what the CAF executive had to say about their recommendation regarding which one of the candidates should be considered by the football associations in Africa. So that's where we come from. And yeah, it was a good visit.
So you go there. There they are as the CAF executive. Did you go in one by one, or?
Our viewers and listeners should be reminded that we had done that exercise via the CAF executive in the city of Cairo in Egypt. So that is done. We were merely there to hear what CAF had to say finally. And of course, in the end, they invited us to each one of us to hear what they are thinking, because the real meeting with an item that relates to FIFA presidential candidates was going to take place the following day. So they were having a chit-chat with each one of us, giving us some kinds of report. I don't know what they said to others, but I know what they said to me.
What did they say to you?
Well, I met 2 FIFA vice presidents, and their presentation was, we have had you in Cairo, we had everybody come to Tokyo, you know, a colleague, we're all friends. We're here just to give our endorsement of one of you. And they had indicated that they have a belief that I may not be. I don't know how they know that, because the meeting had not yet taken place. But these are vice presidents, so they must have known something that we didn't know. And they said, we may, it's a very nice, longish meeting, just to say you may not be the chosen one. Chosen in the sense that you may not be endorsed. We may look at somebody else. And yeah, that's how it was.
So what did you say to them the next day?
It was a letter written to them, because it must be read only 3 short paragraphs. That one, thanks, I met you the other day. It was a good meeting. And number 2, I heard your message that I may not be your choice. And number 3, this is critical, Vuyo. I recommended to them that quite clearly for what they had said the night before, and to make it easy for them, in the interest, I said, of African football, you can remove my name today in your discussions and consider the others. You will not untie their hands, I said, so that you can make a freer choice. The idea was not to subject them under some tension, because I guess I should be smart. It was going to be a tense decision. So to relieve them of that, because after all, it is not an election. It is an endorsement of one. The election will take place in Zurich. That's where the 209 associations are headed. That's where we are headed. So I had said, you can consider the other 4 without myself. I am still in the race in Zurich, but here for your own consideration, it's fine.
Did the issue of the importance of having an African candidate come up at all during your conversations with them?
I guess, it's a conversation. We're having a nice thing. I would like to say that. I respect the fact that they also came to me to Popo. We never even discussed football and that, nothing, zero football. We're just discussing this political issue, if you want. And,
what?
Well, can you maybe assist us find somebody else? Maybe it will not be you. So it's political, it's not about football. Because it's about governance, it's about the politics of football, it's about their own nomination. When I say political, that's what I mean. And not revolutions that you know here.
CAF has 54 local federations. Was there no one didn't you ask that if you're not happy with me, couldn't you have gotten anyone from the 54 CAF national federations to raise their hand?
Vuyo, the door is closed. The whole world, only 5 have been shortlisted by FIFA. And on this continent, I'm the only one. So there's no time for people to stand up now. But people were given a chance after the resignation of Mr. Blatter, about 4 days after his election last year. So people were given a chance worldwide, Africa-wide, to put themselves up. In Africa, I remember there were only 2 people who put themselves up. One was immediately disqualified. Mr. Bility of Liberia was disqualified by CAF. So I remained hopeful as the only one. So yes, there were so many people. I don't know why they didn't raise their arms. But let me say the following. I am glad. I am also proud. I'm happy that the biggest continent, the biggest football playing continent in the world, Africa, at least has somebody who's there. I think it would have sent a negative, a wrong signal, if, with all my competencies, okay, whether I know football fully or not, that's not the issue. But listen, we ran the World Cup here, and I've been running football in many, many places, so I know about football. I am of football, so I'm not minimizing that. And I know that there are people sometimes who don't know, or they think Vuyo is just television, and they may not be aware of other things which you are. But in any case, there it is. I am very proud, very happy that at least Africa, the continent, could put one person. So I'm a kind of a stopper. Our nakedness, I am the fig leaf. So I don't have to succeed, but I think it's success in itself that one has got the courage enough to stand. I'm not dirty. The ethics committee passed me through. So that's how I feel. But of course, there are other candidates. There's 5 of us who have equally a chance to be elected on the 26th.
But what makes you think that you still have a chance?
You use the right word. Elections are about a chance. We're all taking a chance, aren't we? People always go into the election with a chance. So I have been nominated by people who hope that I have a chance. So it's not me who said, I'm a chancellor, I want to go there. I come from Soweto, I don't take a chance. So you are elected and people think you have a chance. So you carry that mandate that there is a chance from across the world, not a chance in South Africa, not a chance in Southern Africa, or even Africa. Africa has got 54, there's 209. So maybe there's a chance. I think I have a chance to be considered by people, but I know for sure that once certain things have moved, things may not happen. But I want to put it like this, and I said somewhere speaking, if any of my colleagues, because 5 of us are there, they are well-known people to me. We've worked together. We are all FIFA and football people. One is UEFA. I am FIFA. I've been with FIFA for 11 years. I must say that. One is a Vice President Salman of FIFA. One has been an advisor to, which is Champagne, advisor to Blatter. And the last one, Prince Ali, was also a Vice President of Asia. So we're all there. It's a chance. So something may happen. Anything can happen.
But if CAF says, or the CAF executive says, we recommend someone other than Tokyo Sexwale, then what makes you think that the federations from Africa are going to break ranks?
I'm not calling for federations to break ranks. In fact, there's no breaking of ranks. What CAF has put is a recommendation, and associations have not always followed such recommendations. For example, there was a time when the same thing was made regarding the election of Johansson in another election. They didn't follow the...
Is that what you're banking on?
I'm not banking on that. I'm just telling you the truth. And then, of course, the second time, even Mr. Issa Hayatou, our current African president, was, CAF had recommended him. In 2002, he was standing against Mr. Blatter, and the associations didn't follow. This is not an order, Vuyo. It's not an instruction. It's the recommendation that you may consider this one. So it's an open game. The Chinese may be thinking of Tokyo that side. Somebody may be thinking the English that type. Let's make it a clean, democratic, international. We are FIFA, Federation International, the Football Association. It's international. So it's not an African thing. You may not be voted by other people and so on. But I am preparing myself, and I know psychologically I'm ready for that. And I've said, by the way, and I want to follow a footballer, Neymar, young man. In the Ballon d'Or, he was asked, if you win the Ballon d'Or, like you're asking me, how do you feel? And he said it's a party. And they say, if Ronaldo of Real Madrid wins, and he's not Barcelona, he said, because he's my icon, that's a party too. And they say, if Messi, which is a fellow striker with you in Barcelona, if he wins, he says, that's even a party because I admire him so much. So all these other 4 people are not coming from 4 different political parties with me. Whoever wins is the party for me. For me to come this far as a South African and as an African, as a member of FIFA, because it's more than just being your continent, to come this far, I think it's a party. So whoever wins, I vote behind them and will support them to rebuild FIFA, because the brand is damaged. The image is gone. It's no longer trusted. We will help whichever president comes in to assist so that FIFA wins back the confidence of the world again.
Even if it means embarrassing yourself, as some people are suggesting is exactly what you're going to do.
I like the way you use that word, because I don't just want to educate people and to help them get out of fear. That's why they say cowards. Cowards are people who die many times before their death. And may find that some, and of course, the valiant remain standing. Now, what is embarrassment? I would never be here as a human being today if I believed in the word embarrassment. It causes fear amongst people. You will not wake up in the morning to do things. You will not be a Vuyo to be where you are. Say, Mandela won't be there because you are afraid of embarrassment. You will not approach a certain gentleman or a lady because you're afraid to be rejected, to be embarrassed. Embarrassment doesn't feature in my book, because that's how progress in life, in society, in science, it fails, because you are afraid. So people are given this thing called fear. But, you'll embarrass yourself. You'll embarrass this one. You'll embarrass this one. I am here, and I want to underline that. I am here not because of desperation. I don't need a job or that type of thing. I'm here for inspiration. That if there's something to be done, do it. So, after all, it's a game. How can I be embarrassed of an election of football association such as FIFA? I have run many, many elections as a student, SRC, political, and I've won all of them. Because there was only one that I was disadvantaged, and I never won that one. Okay, it happened to be in the ANC. But it's not embarrassment. Here I am. You continue. People must not fear to put their foot forward because somebody says, you'll be embarrassed. Those are people who are afraid, and we want to help them get out of that fear. This is it. It's about football. It's a beautiful game. At the end, you'll see us continue with FIFA.
Well, the people think the reason you're in the situation you're in now is precisely because of that word, embarrassment. They think that, one, for you to have gone to Europe, and honored, whether it was an invitation or but to be part of European awards, leaving the continent, while it was holding its own awards here, was an embarrassment to the continent, and people felt they needed to embarrass you back.
Let's put it like this. The continent was not having any awards here. Awards were held in one country, okay, in West Africa. FIFA, which is the 209 associations in the world, was holding our meeting in Zurich. It happened to have been in Europe. It's not a European thing. It's our headquarters. And I'm a member of FIFA. You are invited a year before to go to the Ballon. And there's going to be more than 200, okay, presidents and other influential people who are voting. Where do you want to be? You go there. Hang on, I've heard this before.
But then the same guys who were there with you managed to run back and come to the continent.
Well, I hear that 2 of them came back and 3 of us were still remaining. I have many people for 2 days there to talk to convince about what is happening. And secondly, I was invited to the Ballon d'Or. I've got news for you. There where people are saying, where was he? I had no invitation, nothing. You can't just storm into a place. You can't land at airports. You can't just arrive at a place. I had no invitation, and I'm stating it very, very clear. And some of these people should talk out of knowledge. I was not invited, and here, where there's more than 200, there are hundreds of people there, but the voting people, they are there. So where do you go? I'll go there. And let me put this thing very, very clear. I know there are people who say, oh, he didn't go there. These are just people who are just mouthing what they don't know. There is no association. You want proof of that? I've got a letter on my table here, which I wrote to all the 209 associations in the 205 countries. I wrote to everybody. I'm in communication with all of them. It's a very simple thing to run this. I've said to people, invite me. So you accept those who have, so you go to where you are invited. And I've been all over Africa here, by the way, because people do not know where we go when we canvass. They think they know your program. Right now, people don't know where Mr. Ali is. They don't know where Infantino is. It's rumors. So the critics, some of the people who know very little, who think that they know something, started saying, he's not here, he's there. But I've been everywhere. And show me, one African country can go to all of them. But we've got Tokyo's letters. What did you do? I said I would like to visit you, and I'll give you a copy here. And you can check our server here. It will show you that all received, but some said come, and I went. Those that have not replied, there's nothing you can do. You can't force yourself on people.
We live in a digital era, and the number of Africans with mobile phones is rapidly increasing.
Twitter use is predominantly being done on smartphones. This is a very African phenomenon.
Here, there are constantly new innovative ways to make the internet more affordable. With that, we're seeing protests against governments proposing methods to limit access. On Network, we give you information about all of this. We also have new computers, games, and robots.
Join Siphumelele Zondi on Network every Sunday at 19:30 CAT.
Invitation or not, do you not think that it would have been strategic for you to have been there?
It's strategic. But Vuyo, you don't just take an aircraft, land in an airport and jump into a meeting. There's no such a thing. You'll embarrass yourself now.
I thought you didn't care about embarrassment.
No, now it's not done because you're not invited, okay? Now that's really embarrassment. Embarrassment is not taking up a challenge and doing good. You see, I can't just arrive at a people's place. That function was there, and you didn't receive an invitation, but you've got the other invitation to meet people who are voting, and there are many. And I think it's very easy to attend to this matter. I went there, I chose that. I'm all of FIFA, but I'm not meeting people. There are more Africans there, okay, out of the 54 than they were at another place. So this is just a red herring to play about with words. I did the right thing on that day.
Have you since spoken to the 5 federations that at least nominated you?
Yes, I have.
What have they said to you after Friday?
No, I've not spoken to anybody. I've just arrived yesterday. And we have a strategy going forward. But they nominated, and that's it. I look forward to speaking with them. But it's not a disaster. They are not the ones who said, they never made the recommendation. These are people, and I like the way you put it. They nominated you. These are not the people who made the recommendation. Not one of them was there to make a recommendation that please don't go, turn around. What is this word? Withdraw. I've got a mission. They said go to Zurich. I can't come to some African village and then leave my mandate there and go back home. I don't withdraw. If I have to do that, I'll discuss with the associations, but I've been sent to Zurich. And that's where, finally, in Zurich, he will decide what to do. I must reach that place as per mandate. Imagine that I'm sent and then from Johannesburg, you will reach Harare and stop. Then you have lost your mandate. Then you're embarrassing yourself. You've been sent somewhere, go.
Have you spoken to anyone from SAFA since Friday?
I was with Danny, of course.
What did he say?
We're together. I was also with Molefe Oliphant, with also members of my team. What does he say? What can he say? We were there with Danny. It's a recommendation. That's what Danny said. We all know he doesn't have to say anything. But it's a recommendation. We're having lunch and we left. I think he's arriving today because we arrived yesterday. Molefe Oliphant. It's not what he says. It's a recommendation. It is to be followed or not to be followed. There's nothing. There's no harm. A lot of people go into a tailspin, twisting themselves, radio talk shows, trying to air themselves, airing their own frustrations. This is about us. It's football. It's a recommendation. It's all about the beautiful game. It's not a war. But I want to congratulate South Africans. They wanted to get involved in this election where in South Africa, I don't have to talk to anybody except Danny. He's going to vote. If I go to Zimbabwe, 1. If I go to China, 1.3 billion people. You have to talk with one person. It's a very strange election, if I may say to people. There are no parties. There are no flags. Razzmatazz, as Ballon would say. There are no buses, no cabs, no T-shirts, memorabilia. It's all quiet. You go to Mozambique, you talk with somebody. You go to Guatemala, you talk to somebody. That's it. You can't hold a public meeting. There's nothing like that. This interview is very nice for people to have an interest, but there's nothing they can do. Only 209 people will vote. That's not my decision. That's FIFA. It's a very difficult thing. And I know people wanted information. I'm sorry. We don't know what's going on. Where's Tokyo? Unfortunately, you don't report to anybody, but report to those that nominated you. And I had a discussion with SAFA.
What makes you want this thing so badly?
I said we're not in this thing for desperation. We're there for inspiration. I am in FIFA. It's not badly. I am there for 11 years. It's not wanting. It's because you are nominated by people. That's why I'm there. So it's not something so desperately. It comes. And if any of the 4 colleagues win it, it's a party. That's what it's going to be. It's a party.
Even if it's a sheikh who wins it?
Even if it's the sheikh. Well, the sheikh, Sheikh Salman Khalifa, he's the president of the Asian Association. Of all of us, he's also vice president of FIFA. And if he wins it, it's fine. For the first time, the president will be coming from a different continent. And I said so. We have to think of a president coming from, and of course it fulfills also my own dream. And I had said we should consider, not necessarily now, but we should kill the culture, do away with the culture after 111 years of a president coming from essentially one group of people. It has been Europe, essentially. Now, and I had said, the time has come for us to have, and it's in my manifesto, the president to come from a different continent there. If the Sheikh wins it, from a different continent. But it doesn't mean that Infantino or the other candidate should not win. If they win it in Europe, it's democracy. But I have called for, and I'm serious, whether I'm there or I disappear, that will remain on the table. Tokyo Sexwale has said, and will have to address that. I am of FIFA, I'm in football, and I'm saying it now, it's on the table. The time has come for us to break Vuyo with the culture of zero to Africa and other continents of the South, and 111, more than a century. So that culture must change. I was speaking with Infantino, a great personality, by the way. He runs the biggest one, the most efficient in the world of leagues, the UEFA, and he's been the chief executive officer. And I said, Infantino, the day you are elected, maybe you elected this time, make sure that first on your table is this question of embracing diversity. Otherwise, you end up all the time with adversity. I said, if you win it, you are a European, but make sure this discussion is on the table. But also, Vuyo, I'm a member of the FIFA Anti-Racism Task Force, and we are saying fair play on the field, fair play outside the field. It can't be that for so long there is no president that doesn't come from the South. In this particular case, talking about Asia and Africa, there has been somebody who came from Brazil in the past, but he was also a European of Belgium, that is the Havelang. So if the Sheikh is in, well and good. But if Infantino or the other candidate is in, it's still well and good. But this, which I put on the table, will not go away.
Sheikh Salman says some allegations that have been leveled against him.
Let's treat them for now as allegations. I think you are talking about which allegations?
Human rights.
Oh yes, of course. Those
issues have come up.
Well, that's quite serious, because they're getting more serious since Friday. That he has played a role in the torture of prisoners during the Arab Spring in Bahrain, his country. That he has played a role in the arrest, in fingering of suspects who are in football and so on. And I know right now we have 6 clubs from Bahrain that have written to FIFA, to the Electoral Committee, to the Ethics Committee. They've written to the United Nations. They've written to the FIFA sponsors such as Coca-Cola, Budweiser, Visa, and so on, to say that he's not the right candidate. So the jury is out on that one. I'm very serious, as you know, as we should know, on the question of human rights. We're dealing with corruption and all that terrible things that are said to have happened inside FIFA, which has led us to lose 30 leaders, plus a president, plus a general secretary. Human rights is not an area where we should play. I did say to Sheikh Salman, we were in Qatar 2 weeks ago, what does he think about these allegations? Because we have teas, we have dinners, and he said they're all false. So I hope they are, even though people are saying more is going to come out. I hope it doesn't happen. I'll tell you what, Blatter was elected. In 4 days, we lost him. One doesn't want to have a situation where a president is elected and within a short space he's gone. Then, it creates a calamity, crisis on top of a crisis. FIFA deserves much better, because football must continue. The beautiful game, which is not broken. What is broken is up there. Governance, transparency, accountability, financial, and the reforms that have got to be, financial accountability and the reforms that have got to be implemented. That's where we are. Now, if we're going to have a situation where somebody is elected and then tomorrow has got to be removed for allegations, it will be said. But I hope the things which have been said about Sheikh Salman Khalifa are baseless. Otherwise, he has got to deal with them.
Well, some people suspect that money may have a lot to do with it. In other words, the CAF executive members who were meeting in Kigali were perhaps, handed some, bags of something or some brown envelopes.
I have heard of that. I have not seen any brown envelope. I don't pass brown envelopes around. I don't bribe nobody. I don't have money for that type of thing. That's not my ethic. That's not my morality. But if any money is, for now it's rumors, but if any evidence comes forward, because when you start these things, people break loose. And one day, when you pay somebody, you are now blackmailed. Because I need another payment. That's what James Hadley Chase books says, Hollywood rights. I need Hollywood films. I need another payment, otherwise I will speak, that type of thing. I pray, I hope, I trust that these rumors are not true. Because if they are true, then we are in a dark alley. Because to repair the damage done to the brand of FIFA needs a clean process. But if we have a process that is anything other than clean, then we'll never fix up FIFA, because then we're wiping a dirty table with a dirty oilcloth. That's not going to fix us. So I hope the rumors about monies, which I've heard, I hope those rumors remain there as rumors, because if they are proved and evidence is there, we're back to square one.
And what will we be doing between now and the 26th?
There's work to be done. I've been invited to a number of countries, and people still want to speak. It's a short space of time. All of us 5 are running, like chickens without the head, and doing what we're supposed to be doing. For me, I'm very happy to be on the way to Zurich. And by the way, it's not Tokyo Sexwale, do or die. So it's not desperation. Look, if I was a coward, I would have long retreated and be nice to people here, radio talk shows, and yeah, I'm not like that. And I think people should understand, this is Tokyo, this is me speaking. That's not my culture. We will go there, win or lose. For me, it is a win-win. One of these people who I have confidence in, and we all have one mission. All our manifestos are clear on one thing. FIFA needs to be repaired. The damage that has been done is too heavy. Football has got to be cleaned up. Corruption, all these things must go. And we are faced with all these allegations. The FBI is on top of all of us. The office of Loretta Lynch in Washington is on top of the Attorney General of the US, the Attorney General of Switzerland. I mean, we want this out of our lives, but it's got to be done properly. So I hope and I trust that when we get there, we elect one of us, because 4 of us will not be there, but we're all members of the football. We don't go away. I hope and trust that whoever is elected becomes somebody that we can have confidence in to fix up what all 4 of us are saying in our different manifestos.
Well,
let me give you a football one.
Best of luck.
Yes, that's it. Okay then. Thanks a lot. Vuyo.
Well, 26th of Feb, that's when FIFA will be voting for its new president. Interesting to see how this election plays out and whether Mr. Sexwale and his confident do win. After the break, threats, war talk, promises and preparations. It's the State of the Nation time. Don't go away.
I'm sorry, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, we have been banned.
It didn't happen to me on that day because I was already in jail when it happened.
I was scared that when I get back to Joburg, I was going to be arrested. Well, I wasn't. Who are you asking? You're looking at me?
Yes, Zubaida, I'm talking to you.
So the old fuddy-duddies like Dennis and me will remain there?
I just want to say, Joe, that the thing about... damn, go on, and it's coming back to me.
So much more than just the Legal and Rights show. Join Dumile Mateza every Sunday at 2 p.m. only on the SABC News channel.
Story that we'll be following for the rest of the week will become, as we will be coming from Cape Town. Political parties have made declarations regarding their expectations and demands for this year's State of the Nation address. Parliament is meticulously adding final touches to its preparations for the event. They are not only ones planning an event, however. At least 7,000 people are expected to protest in Cape Town CBD on Thursday. City officials say the 3 planned protests will be closely monitored.
Gaining momentum, accreditation, cleaning, and security dry runs Preparations will intensify as SONA approaches. The SABC staff will be among hundreds of journalists updating the public.
We've had 800 applications for accreditation for this year, which is higher than we usually get. We usually get about 600 or 650, but this year we have 800.
Preparations are also underway to host the 3 protests, Fees Must Fall and Zuma Must Fall. Corner protest against racism will be countered by a DA march.
SAPs are not going to permit anything later in the day that will interfere with the SONA arrangements. The city is heavily committed to those arrangements. We have 441 members who will be doing duty.
The EFF has already warned it will insist the president explain the dismissal of the former finance minister, but other parties are committed to a dignified SONA.
Anyone suffering from attention-seeking disorder will have to be met with the might of the rules of the National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, and they are very clear about any form of attempt to disrupt, that you'll be thrown out.
Just because we will not resort to chaos does not mean that President Jacob Zuma will get away with an easy ride from us in the weeks ahead.
Say if the economic freedom fighters were to behave in a particular way, that would actually result in a reaction, some kind of reaction from the ruling party. That's the reason why we're saying all the parties concerned, we wish that they can conduct themselves in a very peaceful and exemplary manner on the day.
The opening of Parliament is the biggest gathering on the parliamentary calendar. It comprises all the arms of the the executive, judiciary and legislature. Pulilani Philip, SABC News, Parliament.
We'll of course be there to bring you all the events live here on SABC News Channel 44. Well, the ANC Youth League at their rally over the weekend made what can be declared as a declaration of war against any disruptions that might take place in Parliament.
We want to state it here today that those who seek to disrupt the state of the nation must prepare themselves for a civil war. We want to assure the country that the Youth League will attend the State of the Nation address to defend the nation and the revolution. We wish to inform the Speaker of Parliament, Comrade Ballon, not to organize security on that day. The Youth League will physically remove the woodworkers from Parliament and will process them accordingly outside the premises of Parliament. We are ready for them.
Well, over those comments, the DA is taking ANC Youth League leader Colin Maine to the Human Rights Commission, following the comments that he made at the weekend, the declaration that there will be a war. Well, that's all we had time for you this evening. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll be bringing you everything that will have happened at the courts, but also we'll be bringing you conversations around all the threats and the promises and the war talk as we begin our State of the Nation conversations that will be taking place here on this program over the next few days. But tonight, it's a good night from me and the crew.